know how to respond to that.
I don't. It's like I got nothing. I'm sorry. Stream healthy. That's good. I mean, I hope so.
No.
It's a regularity, sir. Oh.
Oh, we're live.
We're live. And we're
awesome.
Joss and Possum.
No, that's
Thanks for watching.
The Cloverfield Paradox was actually a game, and we played it.
Yeah, you think so?
Well, there was an alternate reality.
I'm gonna
so
fix my hair and then
fix it. Oh. I look a little better than I did earlier. That much.
Okay, guys. Welcome to the Escape Pod. Sorry about a little bit of a slow start there because, never streamed before.
First live stream on YouTube for the Escape Pod.
Yeah, and we figured it's easier this way than to try to edit something later.
I mean, who knows if this will... I guess since we're streaming it, it's going to end up being a live stream. We could use clips from this if we ever decide to review it.
That's true. I should start recording.
You should start recording.
The Escape Pod.
The Escape Pod.
Cloverfield.
Thanks.
I'm gonna listen to this real quick.
Okay.
See how this sounds. We sound good.
Yeah, you can hear us. You can hear us fine.
All right, everybody. So,
first of all,
sorry, that just fucked up everybody's morning.
You can tell from the thumbnail, we're talking about the third film in the Cloverfield franchise, universe, anthology series. All three that premiered on Netflix right after the Super Bowl. Like, I guess you could say probably like 3 hours at the most after the trailer dropped, which I feel like the Netflix thing is just them advancing from, hey, we released a trailer with no name, just a date. Hey, we released a trailer 3 months before the movie came out. Hey, we released the trailer. Oh, by the way, the movie's out in a few hours.
This is going to be one of the most... Hey, hello.
I can read you.
How you doing?
Leandro.
Welcome to our Awkward Cast.
Awkward Cast, yeah.
So, one thing that I thought was cool about this was that most films' marketing budget typically goes about the same as the actual film budget.
Right.
So, making a movie that is so, like... You only have one ad.
Right, but it plays at the perfect time, a.k.a. the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, everybody sees it.
Ah, Leandro's from Argentina. Thank you for joining us. What time is it there, by the way?
Either awful or great.
Yeah, probably like...
No, Argentina isn't the same...
No.
Oh.
No, it won't be exactly the same.
That's fine.
Not too far off, though. Anyway, yeah, but just the the fact that they saved... Not only did they not have to spend any money putting it in theaters...
Right.
Because, okay, so I assume everybody kind of knows at least a little bit about this movie, but to go over, originally it was a Bad Robot produced movie that wasn't going to be in the Cloverfield umbrella.
The Cloververse.
And they did some reshoots, and, usually this wouldn't be a compliment, because I know a lot of people throw this around in a bad way, but you can clearly tell what was the reshoots in this movie.
Yeah,
like,
but not in a bad way.
Not in a bad way, but really plainly, it's like, okay, this was clearly what they had before, this is clearly what they made after. Yeah. So, they did those reshoots, which probably added to the budget.
Yeah, a little bit more.
They did those reshoots, which added to the budget, and they're like, what if we just, don't put this in theaters, so we don't have to pay to put it out?
Yeah.
We just stream it.
Which saves on posters, all that dumb shit.
And we only play one ad, which cuts the ultimate budget by about half.
It's an expensive ad, but, they would have had to buy it anyway.
They probably would have had the ad anyway, maybe, 10 Cloverfield Lane... they had a Super Bowl ad, so they probably would have done it anyway. Yeah. But Cloverfield Lane had at least one other major trailer, as far as I'm aware.
And that's what's cool about it.
So Leandro just commented that it's 3:40 a.m. Because he's in Argentina. Fans of Cloverfield. I think both of us have been fans of Cloverfield since 2008. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ever since, for me it was 2007 because I followed that viral marketing campaign like nobody's business. But
I'm surprised you're not wearing your Slusher shirt right now.
Oh, I gotta fix this. You keep talking.
Yeah,
I'll get it.
This one, I think that this is all raw reaction, so it's hard to say what I really feel. But I think I liked it a lot. Yeah. I do have some issues with it. Yeah, but not enough to hurt the film that much for me.
Yeah,
I do feel like the ending I wanted a good 15-20 minutes more, but you know, and there's some things I'm still a little iffy on and some motivations, but on the whole, good movie. Like, this is a solid like film, honestly. And when we take into account that they did reshoots to make it a Cloverfield movie, and you could tell where they are. Like, you notice how no one on the ship says the word Cloverfield.
Right.
They only say off camera over the view of the ship.
Yeah.
There's Cloverfield on one of the monitors, but for the most part, it's typically just the news people and the mission control that say Cloverfield.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And the news stuff was part of the... I'm going to get in a sec. I don't know where it is. But the news programming and stuff, that was part of the bare minimum. Because it's funny, this one had like the least amount of viral marketing.
Yeah.
And to be fair, considering their release strategy, it makes sense. They didn't have enough time to really like delve too deep. But I think since this movie... Oh, we got another person. Javier. Another thing is that... I feel like since this movie's more about explaining a bit of the other movies,
yeah, it does that a lot.
Like the thing about this movie is whatever, if we get, and I assume it will, because I doubt this movie won't get some good, I
will say that the fourth film is already done. I think being shot.
And it
will come out this year.
I believe that it's mostly finished, and that one is...
Where does it land on the timeline? Everywhere. It's
so okay. So here's Here's the thing.
Okay.
The thing about this movie that's really cool, but also really frustrating for if you're a fan of Cloverfield, is where does it take place in the timeline? It doesn't matter because
everywhere and nowhere.
Everywhere and nowhere, because I think you're supposed to assume that most universes have this collider go off at some point, or okay. No. Technically,
it affects all universes.
Technically, no. I take back that statement. I think what we're supposed to assume is the universe. I won't say our universe, but the universe of this film is the one where it goes off, and it's the one that fucks. Yeah, there's a multiverse. It's the one that fucks everything up because, not only do they mention that like phenomena and like the ripple effect of like the timelines breaking down will occur in the past, which, given the vague things we know about 4. That it's called Overlord and it takes place in World War II. I assume that that's a cause of the ripple effects of it going back through time. So like I remember during the movie I was theorizing, okay, is that universe where Cloverfield 1 takes place, and then the main universe is where 10 Cloverfield Lane takes place? I was trying to...
It's very interesting.
And who knows if even the universe they went back to is the same one. Like there's no way to tell. Like
because we were thinking... I guess spoilers, because who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Because this whole movie is like...
Yeah.
We thought at the end they were going to arrive and it would be like a different world.
Well, yeah, because see, when my theory was that the universe they were in was 10 Cloverfield Lane, I thought they were going to get back and the aliens were going to be there. Because they were talking about like blackouts and stuff early at the beginning. Yeah, so I thought that... And then the universe they were at... They say that the satellite had crashed into the Atlantic Ocean. I'm like, wait a minute. So is that universe where Cloverfield 1 takes place?
Like, how in the goddamn hell does that all fit together?
But at the same time, like, I'm at the point where I don't think either movie takes place in either universe we saw. Just not enough of the details line up. Like, even though, well, okay, technically, the one that they were in, like, the subplot we got, it's pretty clear that like events very similar to Cloverfield 1 took place.
Because we see the ship crashes,
yes.
And that's kind of what the sparking incident of the first Cloverfield movie was.
And we see the monster, and then so let's. I mean, we're talking about like the overall picture. We'll get into like the actual details of the main plot, but since we're talking about like the cosmology of it, at the end, we can explain why that monster is so big. It's because behind the scenes. In the first movie, they're talking about how the Cloverfield monster in the first movie is a baby.
Yeah.
Like, it's like one of the smallest of its kind, and you assume that there's and the funny thing is that the fucking Cloverfield manga, I don't know if you knew that there was a manga.
There is.
But it reveals at the end there's a bunch of them underneath the ocean.
Isn't the manga canon?
Yes. And it's canon, apparently, and this movie makes it more likely to be canon, because when we just had the first 2 movies, it was more like, this is a pretty grounded universe, and just some weird shit happens.
I like what Luke Art says.
What did he say?
It doesn't matter when Clovey falls, because you think like if time is a line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a wave. Yeah, exactly what...
Which is why it's hard to talk about, like, when this movie is, because it's like...
We don't know if they went... Okay, so here's the thing, Javier. The monster that the husband saw when he rescued the girl, the ambiguous nature of it is that could be the monster from the first movie, because you hear the bombs fall and then it screams. So that could be the Hammerfall protocol from movie 1.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we assume because of the way it's edited, and obviously we like, it's not right to assume because of the multiverse theory, but... Which is why
it's like
this movie fucks your brain. But like we are to assume that since he's saying tell them not to land, they go through the clouds and the big one comes up. We assume that Cloverfield 1 ends, the monster dies, and then oh shit, it's mom's here, and that was what came out of the clouds. It's a different one. It's a larger one.
So you think that if this is, if time was,
if time was in a line, and we're trying to like directly tie this into like the movies,
when the bombs fall in the husband stuff is when the first movie is ending.
It's when it ends because our characters in the first movie die under the underpass. Yes. So again, we don't know if in this movie they time travel as well. That's why it's so weird. But again, the way I kind of viewed it was, if you want to view all 3 movies as happening in the same canon, but there is a multiverse. If you want to view it, I viewed it as, since it's affecting stuff happening in the past and the future as well, it all happens at once. So from the character's perception, that stuff never happened, but it is happening, if that makes sense. Like, that's how I interpreted it, is that if this is taking place in 2018, like the stuff with the husband, and it's not 2008, which, I mean, the ARG for the first movie clearly says this is 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
There has to be some element of, paradox, because that's what the whole movie's about.
Yeah, which is kind of which explains the whole movie, that it's hard to pin it down because it is a paradox. It's a weird mess of time, and
which is cool because on one hand, it means that all those people who were like, hey, 10 Cloverfield Lane didn't tie into the first one enough, there was just the Tagruato stuff. It's because at this point they have the ability to say, like in there, because it's an anthology series, so like different stories are going to happen, but they're all affected by this one event in this movie, so it can all happen or all not happen depending on what the writer wants to do.
Exactly.
So they have this freedom where if they have a continuity error, doesn't matter, that was a different timeline.
Yeah. Which
is really cool because we can see elements like the Cloverfield monster come back and the aliens from 10 Cloverfield Lane come back, but they're not tied down to like when specifically those events occurred, which is what I was saying earlier about the husband. We don't know if that's the first
timeline
movie.
He's in.
We don't know what timeline he's in, because for all we know, in that timeline, the satellite didn't hit the Atlantic Ocean, and so the monsters wake up 10 years later than they would have, which is kind of how I'm seeing it now, that it's not actually the first movie. It's like a different timeline where the Cloverfield monsters woke up in mass.
They want you to probably think it's the first film, but upon like deeper thought, it's like, it's probably just somewhere else. Because the whole point of it is opening up the multiverse to whatever the fuck's gonna happen. Yeah.
So, which is cool, because it's like, it took till this movie to realize how this anthology series was connected.
Yeah, because there's a while where I was confused.
Because 10 Cloverfield Lane, I remember saying, like, why did they not... Leandro says, explain that in Spanish. I wish.
We'll get a cast member eventually.
We'll get a cast member who can speak Spanish. But
we'll get a multilingual escape pod.
We're throwing out too many large words, and I apologize.
But it's hard when we're talking about a movie that's all about a time paradox. It's like, how do you not...
which, by the way, Leandro, I don't know if you can answer this. Did they have... Oh, Luke... Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. But, like, did this, since you were watching it in Argentina, did it have, like, just subtitles, or did it have an actual dub for the movie? I'm curious about that.
Probably a dub, I'd say.
It might have a dub. I'm always interested about when they have something which has a mainline English, language thing, but they have other languages. Do they also do those languages in the foreign language dub? I don't know. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Do we think that the paradox has something to World War II?
Absolutely.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Or else, what is the next movie about?
Yeah, because if it's set in World War II,
we had a dub.
Oh,
cool.
Awesome. That's great.
Interesting.
But I definitely think that's what the plot is, because now they can just have a movie at whatever point in the timeline they want and just throw whatever shit they want in there.
You're watching it in Chile.
That's awesome.
We have like the
The multinational.
Yeah, fuck America. Pieces of shit. Go watch your stupid football.
Well, it's funny how this movie was all about like the multinational team having to work together, and then we're talking in like a chat with like people from different countries. That's like, it's pretty cool.
That is interesting. I liked how the team in the movie was kind of like in Star Trek, where it's everyone from different nations.
Yeah.
And
they also played that for pretty good drama, because I really loved the whole, that version of Schmidt is the one who betrayed them, and that's why I think in the other universe it never went off. It was just this universe, but then that caused them to like fucking meld with. And
it's never said, but Jensen is I think it's Italy. Just
yes,
there's like a wide shot that has her patch, and I was like,
I think she was Italy, yeah. So I guess in that timeline, China's like destroyed or something.
Aren't they like at war?
I think they said something about that. Well, that's the thing, Javier, is that like as soon as they were going down the plot line of
so we created four different
timelines. Yeah,
I need to find a way to get the chat in the stream.
I know some people even said that maybe like makes Super 8 canon to the Cloverfield universe, because I know people were trying to make it work for a while. When Super 8 came out and it didn't work, but like now it can have happened. You know, it's. Are you gonna say it couldn't have happened? You know.
Here, I'm popping it.
Oh, cool.
I'm trying to get the chat in the stream.
Yeah.
It's you keep doing your shit. I'm gonna try to like make this work.
It takes weeks to hire Spanish actors. Oh, interesting. Okay, we're learning a lot here about the foreign Netflix policy, I think.
Which I'm glad for. Well, Netflix is interesting. Like a little sidebar. There's some stuff that'll premiere in Netflix as like a Netflix exclusive. Where in America, it's like something completely different.
Like I don't know if.
Did you know that in Canada, Riverdale is a Canadian Netflix series.
Really?
That airs a lot as the episodes come out.
Well, I know that I don't know if it's the case for you guys, but I know especially for Britain that Star Trek Discovery is on Netflix, but
is it really? Oh shit!
Yeah, but here
ignore that. Ignore what's happening.
But here you have to watch it through a different all access channel.
I'm trying so hard, guys.
The girl the husband finds. That's the thing. Luke Arts brings up a great point. Sal, that cut between the little girl and then the wow, I almost forgot her name. What is her name again? It's
Molly.
No. They have the office on it. Yeah, I think we have that too. So should I like?
I have an idea. Don't. No. No, you're fine. I have an idea.
But there we go.
Hallelujah.
But I see, that's the thing, is that would have to involve either time travel or like, because I think they had different names, didn't they? Like they did the cut between them, but it's possible that maybe that was her daughter or something, you know? Like that's what I'm thinking now. Because if you guys remember at the beginning when they have I forget what the guy's name was, but he was Stambler. He was talking about the Cloverfield Paradox. He has to be related to Howard Stambler from 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Oh yeah, like they didn't mention that.
I don't know if it's in the ARG or if like this is just people speculating, but he might be his brother. They're about the same age, but like, you know, Howard never mentioned a brother, just his wife and daughter, so
I forgot everyone's names.
Yeah.
I remember Jensen because they said it so many times.
Well,
I remember Hamilton because I made the joke in my head about Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah.
And then from there I kind of just...
Here's the weird thing, though. Is, like, they had so many names on, like, the husband's phone. And I'm like, those aren't characters from the other movies. Like, at first I thought he was talking to someone from Cloverfield 1. But then he talked to, like, Peter. And Peter was the guy with the safe house. Was Peter... the guy who had sent them on the mission? Or he was back in mission control? It was hard to tell.
Man, I have no idea.
What if this is a two-part story?
That would be cool.
That would be cool. If it is set in World War II, that would be interesting to see. But considering this movie had two different universes going at once, that's not outside the realm of possibilities that it could have part of this. Like, for all we know, there's going to be, like, the aliens from 10 Cloverfield Lane pop up in the next movie.
Yeah, like,
why not? Just some aliens pop down in the middle of the war. Mom Clover was always sleeping in this film to wake up. Yeah, Howard was right. Yeah, like that's the thing is
Bam! Now it's in the
now
chat.
it's official.
It looks awful, but it's okay. You can kind of read it, I guess.
See, that's the thing I always liked about 10 Cloverfield Lane is that he's crazy, but he is completely right. There's weird shit going on. I don't, because again, if you guys have just watched the movies, if you didn't delve too deep into some of the alternate reality game stuff, Howard worked on, he was in the Navy, he says in the movie, but he worked with Todd Gruato, and in the ARG, he like picked something up happening in space. Now maybe that's that universe's Cloverfield station disappearing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the aliens. Who knows?
Or maybe it's none of those. It's something completely different. It's so bizarre.
Like that's the thing is that they linked it all, and yet at the same time they gave you no definitive answers.
Not at all.
So the three movies are.
They explain that there's gonna be different shit happening in every film, but
different shit, but stuff can always come back.
Yeah.
Because we got the triumphant return of the Cloverfield monster, which I remember when I just saw when the husband just saw the shadow, and I was like, "Is that all we're gonna get? Come on." Now.
They did a Slusher reference, and they also did a Kelvin reference.
Yeah.
I caught that.
Then again, they did a Slusher reference in Star Trek 2009. So are they saying that that's part of the multi? That's a whole can of worms.
That's another episode.
That's
something completely different. That's something I don't want to get into right now because I think my brain would explode even further. Though, no, wait. Because one of the writers on Star Trek Beyond wrote this film.
Yeah, the guy.
Which furthers the multiverse.
Yeah, which, I mean, for reasons of...
That's so bullshit.
Yeah. In part
Monsters
4,
aliens.
do we get Monsters vs. Aliens? It flashes red lights. Oh, yeah. Oh, he's right. It flashes red lights. Maybe, well, because did Howard say that, or was it,
Oh my god.
Or was it that he said that there was a red flash, and we never see the aliens in 10 Cloverfield Lane do any red flashes? There was a blue flash. So, that's a good point. Oh, this is a good question. What was the favorite anomaly the crew had to face?
The arm was awesome because, I wish the arm came back later on, because there's a cut away, there's a shot where...
Point to Argentina, yeah.
The arm was just, waiting. It was, tapping its fingers.
Tapping.
And I kind of wish that... I mean, it would make the movie longer. I wanted them to go back to Earth and then regrow the crewman out of his arm. Just because, fuck it. I love the arm. The arm was really interesting because, I love how, I heard the German guy was immediately like, see? This universe is fucked. I'm not a traitor. Let me out.
I gotta say that, my favorite, and this is kind of tied. My favorite anomaly is the eyes moving. Because, that was messed up.
I love he was like, excuse me?
Excuse me? Like the way his eye would, flip back and forth, I thought that was creepy as hell.
I had a moment where I was like, did he merge into his other universe self?
Yeah.
And is trying to talk to himself?
I thought that too.
Yeah.
I assume what we're supposed to take from that is that, well, the worms teleported into him, Leandro. It's the same way that the
Ivan Drago?
Yeah. Yeah.
New name. I know it's Voltric or something.
But the thing teleported inside of him. Well, James, we talked about this earlier.
I love how excited you are.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier. The monster was at cloud level because in the behind the scenes for Cloverfield, the original, they commented that the monster we see in that film is a baby. It is the smallest version of it. So
in this movie,
I don't think it's the same timeline, but I think in this version, since the satellite never crashed, all of them woke up later, 10 years later, and then we got the big mother one.
Which is what then pops out of this.
Which is what pops out of the sky, because obviously the original monster was nowhere near that big.
Yeah.
But that is that was a baby in the first movie. This is the Godzilla sized one.
That's the whole thing. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, because in the manga, the manga. And yes, that happened. They show that at the end, it's there's a whole. They all come up and.
Yeah. Yeah. So I again, that's the thing is there's like if you try to fit this all into one timeline, it doesn't make sense.
Your head will start hurting.
Like, these three movies can't really exist in the same timeline unless time is warping so much that, like, things are jumping through time periods at random, which I don't think is what's happening, because we've had no hint of that in the other movies. I think, like, stuff will bleed in and then stay there, but it's the reason why, like, it's the thing why in 10 Cloverfield Lane, this like, 10 Cloverfield Lane had, like, a new version of the iPhone, and Cloverfield 1 was all built around, like, fucking MySpace pages and, like, all that shit, so they can't possibly have occurred at the same time. And then this movie, the husband who's driving around, he has a new phone. Like, he's not using, like, a 2008 phone, so it can't possibly be the same time.
And James, don't worry, you're getting another one this year, so you're hooked. Number 4 is happening.
Yeah, number 4 is happening.
Overlord
is what they're...
Good anime. Good game.
That's what they're theoretically calling it.
The Overlord series.
Yeah.
Well, I love how it was God Particle for so long, and now it's the Cloverfield Paradox.
It was briefly Cloverfield Station.
Oh, that could work too.
I honestly...
I like Paradox.
Yeah. I don't think the ARG was awful. I think it was just kind of like... It was kind of just, like, perfunctory.
They wanted to shock you with it.
A little bit. I think what they wanted you to be even more surprised, because usually the ARG goes for at least a few months, and then they're like, oh, surprise, it's like next week. So Luke Arts, is it confirmed that the next movie is actual aliens in World War II? And obviously, like, we can't assume that it's the same ones from the second movie, but, you know, there might be. Or can we?
Who only JJ and his mystery box know. So
yeah. But what was I saying?
Mystery box PNG. I don't remember.
Oh, you don't remember? We're talking so fast. We got so many.
We got
questions. I think the ARG. I think if you want to look at it negatively, it was kind of perfunctory. Because when you look at, like, the ARG in comparison to, like, 2 and especially 1, it's, like, really tiny. Like, there's, like, one audio file, one image, the Slusho truck that was going around, and then I think a few other things. But I don't think it was awful. I think it was just designed that they were like, we're not going to tell you anything about this movie, because this movie is basically the ARG for all the other movies.
Yeah.
It was the backstory to all the other movies.
What I love is that there was no time for speculation, no time for an IMG trailer breakdown. It was just, it's out.
It's out.
You have to deal with that now. And and I like that a lot. I think that's a really cool way to market a movie. We talked about at the very beginning about how, like, they spent almost no budget on advertising in comparison to most films.
Yeah.
And everyone's talking about it now. Like,
so James, ARG means alternate reality game. So
a lot of movies will do this to lead up into their film, where on forums and websites and stuff, you can basically play, like, a little, like, game where worst bagel machine ever.
Yeah, that was great.
The crew member with the arm definitely had to be the one to write that, because no one else would have done that. So what it is companies will do this to hype up their thing. So, like, there's a cool one for The Dark Knight. Returns?
No, it was
Rises?
The Dark Knight. It was
The Dark Knight?
Harvey Dent's campaign.
There's a whole, like, game where basically, like, the Joker was, like, defacing Harvey Dent ad posters in Chicago.
Yeah.
And it was all supposed to build up into the thing. One of the best ARGs ever was I Love Bees for Halo 2, where literally it was 2004, so there was phone booths everywhere, and you just got, like, there's this whole forum about Halo 2 coming out, and in the E3 trailer, it bleeped a little website you can go to called I Love Bees. It looks like a normal beekeeping website, and you go in, and it starts to, like, fall apart, and there's this AI trapped in the website, and then people all around, like, I think the US would go to phone booths at certain times, and it would ring, and you'd have to answer questions, and then you'd get a new, like, audio file, and then when you were done with the ARG, you got a whole 52-part audio drama set in the Halo universe. That's kind of what happens in ARG. Just, like, it's all hyping up the next thing, but there's its own contained story within that.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting how they do that. So that's kind of why, like, that's what ARG is, basically. Just, it is a game you can play, like, on forums, on websites, and it is dope. It's fucking great. I love the whole idea of it, and, like, it's like community and, like, puzzle solving and, like,
it's the Reddit is really, like, where a lot of it happens. Like, obviously back in 2008, like, Cloverfield had probably the second biggest one, I'd say, after I Love Bees.
Because I Love Bees was, like, everywhere. Because, like, you know, Halo basically made the Xbox what it is, so they had a lot of money to just. Question: what would you do if you were in the position of the protagonist? Would you stay on the alternate Earth with your family, or I would go back to Earth?
I would go back to Earth because
I think being who I am, I know how bad a paradox can be, and I know that no matter what I do on that Earth, they will be attached to that version of me, and I will only complicate things further.
Yeah.
I will also immediately be detained by the government because it's like, what were you doing on that spaceship when you're clearly in like Utah?
Here's the other thing. Here's the dark thing: is that this woman was very psychologically troubled by this, and like the captain brings up a very interesting question, like, what would you do if you got there? And like, what would you do? You go in and say like, oh, I'm your mom. Like, would you try to replace the other moms that you could fill that? Or
because you're from an alternate universe, do you like have her like on the weekends? Like, what do you do? Like do you share parentage? Now this person has two moms who are the same person and a dad.
In all reality, it sociologically would not work. But I think she knows that, and I think like the character is selfless enough to say, I don't actually expect to like live with them. I just want to save their lives because I failed in the other universe. But I think I probably would go back to Earth just because I'd like to think so. If I did lose my kids like that, I don't know, man. Like so nobody knows.
We got two good questions. Which I mean, so did they write Overlord thinking the Cloverfield? I don't know, actually.
I think this one was definitely because God Particle was pretty much almost done when they were like, "Hey, let's put this into the Cloverfield universe and like explain everything." Overlord, I'm gonna guess that it was probably more likely that they started from Jump Street wanting it to be in the universe.
And the reason why I say that is because since they're both coming out this year, they definitely had Overlord as the planned sequel.
Yeah.
But then when they saw God Particle and they were able to do it, the reshoots were very minimal. It was literally just
guy in a car,
guy in a
bunker,
little girl in the car,
and then you have just like two monster shots.
And you get the actress who played Hamilton to say Overlord. No, I mean Cloverfield. Sorry. So in Paradox, what are they trying to do on the ship? They are trying to they're trying to get reusable energy.
Yeah,
because the planet's energy we saw in the opening that they're all waiting in line for the gas, and it is a huge line. They haven't moved in like minutes.
Yeah, that's such a good detail that you don't notice at first.
So the reason why they go up to do this is because the world's energy is falling apart because we don't have any reusable energy. So basically the idea, they want to make this engine so they can get energy. The issue is it's handling such certain physics and whatever science that I don't know
here's the scary thing is we do have hadrogen colliders, and they're designed to like create fusion, like nuclear fusion. And so this is something that we actually kind of have in real life. Like, it's not on the level of this particle accelerator where it could rip a hole in reality, but we have actual particle colliders where, I mean, like, as scientists know that if you combine matter and antimatter, it creates a violent reaction. So, like, if I think they have one in Switzerland, if that particle collider went, like, haywire...
The one at CERN? CERN?
I think so. That one would not be pretty. Like, it would cause some damage.
It'd be bad. You'd also get a movie called Angels and Demons. Director of Solo. Ranger Solo.
Lucart said, guy from the interview at the beginning set up everything. Sea monsters and time travel.
Yeah. He really did.
Yeah.
He was definitely one of the reshoot people.
I definitely think so because he was also one of the parts of the extra material because there was like a still image of him like taking off his glasses and it was all distorted. So I feel like that was something that they did to neatly tie everything together. What if the pod we see is different from the one that leaves? The pod that lands is the one in World War II.
Oh my god. See, that I would like that, but also I think these films don't like to get people back.
No, because I remember making jokes the whole time, like, what if Michelle from 10 Cloverfield Lane, like, says, like, don't come back to Earth?
Yeah.
That's what I thought the ending was actually going to be. Mm-hmm. I was like, what if they get back and it's not the husband's universe?
Paradox is before, during, and after.
Yeah, because, like, again, James, they say that, like, the explosion of the particle accelerator causes a rip that sends stuff into the past and the future. And I don't think the pod is the satellite piece from movie 1. I think in one universe, the Cloverfield station maybe shatters and then hits it. That's a theory. I'd have to go back to the original ARG because Before, during, and after. Yeah, exactly. Like it's a mind fuck. Like again, the movie, they're all canon, but they're all in different universes.
It's
like
canon, all of it.
It's whatever It's this kind of thing where there's not a clear answer. I can't find my Slusho shirt, but I did find this Cannibal Airlines, which
is one of the movies they watch in 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah, which I bought this shirt because I was convinced this was part of like the ARG, but it ended up not being. They just used someone's design for the movie as like a joke.
Yeah.
One part of
okay, so the little girl, we the whole time thought she was gonna have the parasite from Cloverfield. We were like determined.
When he said, "Let me check that arm again," I'm like, dude, if she has that bite that causes you to explode from Cloverfield 1, which who knows, that might be what happened. There's
a potential.
Like, I mean, I don't think they'll follow up on it in the future movie. I think that's like a little. Well, okay. Here's the thing: is I think what I believe is that we're gonna get this Overlord movie, and then I think we'll. Because I know a lot of fans want to know what happens to Michelle after 10 Cloverfield Lane. They want to know what happens after this movie with the giant monsters like roaming everywhere, and then the girl, maybe she has the bite. I would like to see a continuation of those, but at the same time, like the way Cloverfield's designed, I feel like this movie was saying like, hey, we can take in elements, but we probably won't do like direct sequels to any of this unless there's like a huge response, which I think there will be. Michelle was hot. Yeah, she was.
Michelle was hot. We just watched Live Free or Die Hard the other day, and she's also in that. And it was.
Let's see. I don't think it's the pod because we see Mama Clovey and they record it falling. Pretty hard to miss. Yeah. No, well, I don't think the part where they said. She was Ramona Flowers. But they said that one part of the ship ends in a different time. No, I think that was just if you're talking about the bit that was in the ocean in the alternate universe, I think that was just that version of the Cloverfield station. But I don't know if that's what you're talking about. Because there's two versions. Yeah. In this movie.
And I think that what happened was oh god.
Yeah.
It's hard to say because it's like, did one jump into the other one and it rip apart? Did one jump in and it shattered it? Or
I think probably that. But we got
or because when they switched, one wasn't actually trying to be active. It like couldn't handle it.
Yeah, it couldn't handle the energy.
The one in, I'll say our universe, because
our universe,
from the perspective of the main characters.
Yeah.
Since we were powering our ship on and they weren't ready to handle the dimensional vortex bullshit. Yeah. Which made it crash into the ocean, and then...
Also, to Luke Arts, what you said about the ending with the husband screaming and you got chills, I gotta agree, because, like, when he was just screaming, I was just waiting for that money shot, man. I was like, damn. Like, and again, like, Cloverfield, who knows if they'll ever follow this up, but, like, that ending is, like...
Maybe in the manga?
Maybe in another manga. And then James says, so, is this thing man-made or an alien? If you mean the Cloverfield monster, I don't think it's man-made.
It's kaiju.
I don't know if it's alien either, because I know I think it's just some subterranean thing that lives in. Maybe there's a version of Earth where mankind never existed, and these things just live like underwater, and they just come out and hunt. Maybe the Cloverfield monster is from like 500 million years ago on a different version of Earth where life evolved differently, and it got transported to our ocean.
Because there's Slusho. Yeah. And what Slusho did was they went down into the deep sea and they got those things that made it like very addictive. Yeah. And I think the idea is that when the ship crashes, it hits a certain spot and unleashes it, kind of like in Pacific Rim, where
that's what I was thinking, like Pacific Rim. Yeah.
So I think that they're not aliens technically because they are on Earth. Yeah. Maybe they were aliens at some point, or maybe we were aliens.
Maybe we were aliens. Who knows? Yeah. Who knows?
But they are living on Earth, so by that definition.
Let's see.
Also, thank you all for being here.
Yeah, no,
I love everyone.
It's pretty cool how you guys just randomly search like Cloverfield shit, and then you came to this.
And there's these two schmucks.
Let's see. Let's go with Leandro. Lots of part of the spaceship explode. Yeah, no. So for all we know, some like because it maybe the version of the Cloverfield station that blew up got thrown into a different time, and that's what landed in the first Cloverfield movie.
Because when they do travel back, their ship is falling apart, and they don't say if anything falls out during transmission. So
exactly.
Maybe,
and then,
or maybe it's just some random thing that just happens in that universe because paradoxes are now going all throughout the universes. So just shit happens because
anything could happen.
So what questions did the movie answer? It basically thank you, LucasArts. Like, comment, subscribe. So this movie answered the question of why everything's different in Cloverfield and then 10 Cloverfield. It answers an overall questions going forward. It answers because from now on,
any weird shit that happens is because of the paradoxes.
Yes,
that's basically what the movie set up. Is that
it's basically saying, "Hey guys, we're making more of these. Shit's gonna get weird. Don't worry about like
how or why." Because a lot of people are preoccupied with, okay, so what's the deal with the aliens? Or what's the deal with the Cloverfield monster? And while I think that's cool stuff to discuss and go into,
it definitely is.
But it's like the point is that when they do a story, Michelle's story at the end of 10 Cloverfield Lane is over. She goes through her character arc, and even if we never see those aliens again or know nothing about them, what's important is that they were there for her to overcome in a way.
I do want to watch A Quiet Place, actually.
And I know
which is funny because
some people think that A Quiet Place might be like a Cloverfield movie.
Well, I will talk. So the main actor in A Quiet Place is John Krasinski.
Yeah.
Who passed up being in this movie to be in the Jack Ryan show. So he is interested in the universe.
Yeah.
That's some IMDb trivia for you.
And something else is JJ actually wanted to work on this movie more in post-production, but when the whole thing with Star Wars Episode 9 happened and he had to come back, he had to like
leave his
out,
baby. Yeah.
So
God, there's so many things, and I love that there are so many questions.
Tosh freezes. It's cold.
So that was an interesting scene where she gets frozen in space. I loved it so much. Just that visual is so, because we see too much people getting shot out of a.
Yeah, no, that was fucking great. That was a good visual of just like the ice just like exploding and then like staying.
I mean, they do the getting shot out of a ship thing, but it's done different than in most films, because in most movies, like, it's Jim Halpert. Yeah, I love him.
Yeah.
Now Jim Halpert's all buff and stuff, and he's like a real actor.
LucasArts said, "How do you feel that basically everything happens because we don't recycle?"
I think that's very true.
That's an interesting.
And we should all recycle more.
Well, I don't know if it's that. I don't like that. Is funny to view the movie as like all this stuff will happen because we need renewable energy, but because we fucked up a little bit, it's gonna happen. But I think what the movie is actually saying is like, science is a like mankind's abilities to shift the world is a danger because we don't really know what's out there.
Yeah. So what's up with the Russian guy? I have a theory about how the gyro got inside of his body. I think that because my theory is that the Russian guy got merged with his other self.
Yes.
I also think that in the other timeline, his self was so it's my theory. So it's not my theory. It's definite. They jumped into the other ship.
Yeah. Well, they merged with parts of the other ship
because
too.
Jensen's suit is in the ship, and then the German guy's logs
are the other. Well, and the photo of them all has Jensen and not Tam.
Yeah. So basically, since they didn't have the gyro in the ship, I believe that universe's Russian guy was taking out the gyro, or he had it somewhere and was holding it, maybe like this, so that when he
merged, it popped into him.
But that's trying to explain a paradox in a movie. There's a guy that's arm crawls across the ground, writes, and then does funny jokes. So I mean, like, it's hard to say, but I feel like if there's going to be an explanation, that could be it.
Yeah.
And then the worms, I don't got a good one for that. I think it's just a cool visual.
I think it was just, they just teleported into him. Maybe I don't know why. Like, again, like, stuff in the movie just shifted. It wasn't really, like, I mean, you had the theory of him holding it. Theoretically, like, anything could have hopped it. Because so, just picture this. What if, when the Cloverfield station's spinning, and in the other universe, just because the laws of gravity, maybe they launched it and it was spinning 1 second later. We would be here, they would be there. So if stuff shifts, stuff from that side of the station would go there.
Which is why that Jensen's in the wall.
Which is why she's in the wall. What you said. Let's see. We'll rank the movies in a second. Leandro asked, did I ever see any Argentinian movie?
No, but can you recommend me some?
Can you recommend me some?
Because now I want to watch them.
I've seen like commercials for some, but like not any legit ones. We watched a movie that was filmed in Argentina. Yeah.
I will say, Argentina is beautiful.
It is beautiful.
From what I've seen from Yao.
So Javier brought up, did we want to see the Statue of Liberty? Yes, Javier, I will say in the opening scene when they're sitting in the car, I was like, I just wait, the Statue of Liberty head's gonna roll past them or something.
That's what you wanted to see?
Yeah. Well, not that what I wanted. I was trying to, because I thought the movie was gonna open with a jump scare because 10 Cloverfield Lane has her driving and then because it's like real slow.
I think that for the arm, I think the arm had his consciousness inside the arm.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Or maybe he. The arm thing is probably like the most out there the movie gets,
because the arm thing knows the gyros inside the Russian guy. How does it know that?
And again, like maybe that arm is like from a third universe because it blows my mind. But anyway,
I think that Cloverfield is my least favorite. I cannot say it's the worst because these are all good movies, but for me it's Cloverfield, Paradox, and then Lane. Lane's my favorite one so far.
I would say I would say Paradox is my third favorite. It's definitely a good movie in my opinion. It's just that given like how the way the movie's structured is, it's clearly like this is the one that's most concerned with setting up the universe and not about telling like an individual story. Like the main character, in my opinion, is like the least well developed as far as like well, I mean I can't say that, but like the Michelle in Cloverfield Lane. And I forget if it was Hawkins in one. I think I like relate to them a little bit more. But I would say like Paradox, then Cloverfield 1, and then for me, 10 Cloverfield Lane's my favorite, just because like on just like an individual scale of the movie, like
it's also my favorite ending personally. Because you asked favorite ending, it is 10 Cloverfield Lane. It's the most uplifting one I think, because I think Paradox, it ended too early.
It ended too early. It needed like one more scene.
Because the husband stuff felt very much like, what was the point of that other than to show the husband?
Well, it was because they needed to service people who wanted to see the Cloverfield monster.
Yeah.
Like I would have loved it. Honestly, the way I would have ended it instead is have them like have something like come like the back of Cloverfield come out of the clouds as they land, and then they land, they get out, and they look up and see it. That way, we're like still with our characters. And then they perceive it, and then that's an ending to their story. But because the way it came off was more, this is the setup for the whole Cloverfield universe. So that's why I would rank it 3. Not because it's bad, but because when I watch 1 and 2, I get a complete experience. This is like pretty much a complete experience, but it's more like this is setting up everything.
I'm adding Wild Tales to my IMDb watch list.
6 Tales of Violence.
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm adding all of Leandra's suggestions.
So, Cloverfield versus Godzilla. That would be interesting. I mean, I guess it would be like what version of Godzilla? Because if it was the current American and the current Japanese, they would destroy Cloverfield. Honestly, like annihilate him. But if we're talking Cloverfield from the first movie, he was pretty durable, which was cool because he was like a aquatic creature with like low pressure depth. But it'd be interesting. Yeah. What was the black thing? The black stuff was that magnetic putty that he had put on the wall to seal it. So basically, for some reason, the paradox, the gravity changed, and so that stuff was like going out towards him. As for why it kind of like grabbed him,
because I thought it was gonna shoot through him.
I thought it was gonna stab through him. I don't know why it grabbed him. Like I guess again, like that's the thing that this movie is, whereas the other two movies, I feel like everything's more on a realistic plane. Since here reality is like shifting, like stuff just happens.
Because in the other two films there are supernatural weird elements, but in this world it has rules.
It has rules.
Whereas in Paradox there are no fucking rules.
Gravity doesn't have.
Your arm will be ripped off, and then we'll find it in another corridor, and it could talk. Because fuck you. Because it just can. Because here time is thin. You know, everything's weird.
I can remember the names. Well, LucasArts, I would say that the reason you can remember Michelle and Howard's names from the second movie is because you spend so much time with those characters. The whole movie...
It's 3 characters. It's Howard, Michelle, and Emmett?
Emmett. The whole movie is with those 3 characters, whereas in Cloverfield 1, there's not that many characters, but there's so much other shit going on that
and you're always like... You're behind that... The 3 guys are one character who's always kind of like...
Yeah. And again, I will say, I think people kind of don't give Cloverfield 1 enough credit for how character-driven it actually is, because people think that party scene is like 10 minutes, but... They set that up like really, really well, and that's why that movie is my second favorite, because it is like really, really character focused.
It is weird how it grabs him.
It is weird.
I wish it did just shoot through.
That'd be cooler if it just shot through him, honestly.
And he's sort of like just stuck there. I don't know why they didn't do that. Maybe it was a bit too gory.
Would you think that 10 Cloverfield Lane would be better with Ramona watching the sky, not seeing the aliens? I think you needed a bit of a payoff. Like, honestly, I mean, I know the original ending for the script was her looking over a nuclear wasteland or something. So like they took that and then said, hey, we've been building up this alien thing. Let's throw that in there. Honestly, I like what we got. Like, it is kind of like a genre change in the third act, but I don't really mind it because Michelle has to like kick ass.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about the guy losing his arm and why he feels no pain is because the doctor even says it's as if he was born with it. Basically, what happened was the paradox made it as if he never had that arm.
Yeah.
Like, as if it was just...
It wiped it from existence.
Yeah, it didn't get ripped off. It just...
Yeah, Again, yeah.
He was the best character.
Yeah.
Like, that guy's comedic timing...
Yeah.
Was... I mean, and he's a comedy actor, so it makes sense. And I kind of like how there's this in Alien Covenant where they take, like, comedy actors and give them, like, really good, emotional, sci-fi characters to work with. And I'm like... Yeah, that's good. Because, like, Tennessee in The Covenant is played by Danny McBride, who's also, like, a comedy actor. And I love him in that movie. Like, the comedy was really good in this because it was sparse. It wasn't, like, too... You're studying film direction, Argentina.
Oh, very
My
nice.
man, we have to talk.
10 Cloverfield Lane, perfect.
10 Cloverfield Lane is...
Yeah, it is really good.
Like character, scene, atmosphere, pacing, just when he shaves his face to try to be all young and it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah,
and I love we dissected that trailer when it came out.
If you go back, you can watch our reactions to the 10 Cloverfield Lane trailer, and then kind of some of the ARG stuff, and then our reactions right after seeing the movie.
Alternate ending. Did I not watch an alternate ending? I bought the DVD. Did I not do that?
Wait a minute.
I'm a fucking fool.
Lucart says it's scary that something like that could happen with our reactors. I think that like messing with like matter and antimatter, which is like the way the universe is fucking formed, is very dangerous. And although I'm not so doom and gloom as to think we can't like prevent it from going off, the fact that like this is like theoretically possible, like I don't think all the kinds of paradox could happen, but the fact that like just randomly solids become liquids in this particular area because of this kind of reaction. I think it's a really cool idea for a sci-fi film. And let's see.
I kind of wish I wish they had delved deeper into the idea of like, fuck, we don't know where the Earth is.
It was interesting how I kind of wish that like if this movie, if it didn't have its subplot, tying it more into like the Cloverfield monster, we could have definitely had a good 10-20 minutes of them going like I kind of build more of the fear of just we could be like, because they briefly say like we could be across the galaxy.
Yeah, well, because the captain, I forget his name. I love how there's a scene where he like is freaking out and then he slowly like
and he kind of just rubs himself
and then he's just next scene he's just
Black Mirror is great. Yeah,
man.
The Cloverfield series kind of reminds me of Black Mirror, where like in Black Mirror, it's like possible because there's enough connections where those all happen within the same reality or within like the multiverse of Black Mirror. Let's see.
Yeah. So, I do remember that actually.
Yeah.
Shit. So this movie, it wasn't pointless. It had a purpose. It was a fun adventure all the way through. It didn't give us new answers to previous questions, but it explained...
It kind of did. The only answers it really gave was how do all of these things connect?
Yeah, it's the story that says, hey, going forward, whatever happens, and it could be in its own universe, and that's okay.
Yeah,
instead of JJ coming out in like a tweet and saying, hey guys, all the everything is in its own universe, or it might not be. Let's just make a fun movie where like we explore like interdimensional travel and like how making a paradox would actually affect like space-time and like where you are.
And here's the thing is and again, it's kind of what I said earlier, where it allows us to, if there are connections, great, and that's going to like enrich your kind of like immersion into the world, like especially with the extra material. But at the same time, if they get something wrong, it's not on us fans to get mad about it. Like, we don't have to, like, panic of how does 10 Cloverfield Lane fit into this timeline. Yeah. Because maybe it doesn't. Like, you can enjoy each individual story whilst knowing how it all links.
Yeah, because basically every director that comes in with an idea doesn't have to worry about where it fits in the canon.
Oh, well, and also, if there's a Cloverfield movie you hate, doesn't matter. It's in a different universe. You don't have to even care about that.
Yeah, whereas, like if I hate a certain Star Wars movie...
That's part of the timeline now.
It's part of the timeline now. I can't... to quote Mr. Plinkett, it could never be undone.
It could never be undone. So, Leandro said up there, Annie Machete, director of It, is from Argentina. So, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Scroll up a little bit, actually, on our end. So, James said, Netflix picked it up. You don't know if it'll be movies. Maybe it'll be a show.
We could get a Cloverfield.
You could get like Black Mirror, but it's Cloverfield.
I feel like a reason why this was not a theatrical release was because it was more of a answering questions movie.
Yeah, because if you had released this like straight up in theaters, I feel like a lot of the casual audience, because like they probably would get like a little angry that like the monster attack didn't happen at the end. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because it's.
Let's see.
Javier, I feel like this movie is the connecting. It's the point where everything goes away from. It's like like this movie is the Big Bang of the Cloverfield universe, and everything that spawns from it is essentially from this one moment.
Yeah, the two before and everything after, this was the thing that made it happen. But going to what Leandro asked, we were talking about this earlier. But when we saw the first teaser of the movie, I remember 2007. I was sitting in a theater watching Transformers 1. And then before the movie started, we got this teaser of these people at a party. It's a found footage movie. And then the Statue of Liberty head lands in the street. And that trailer grabbed me. Like, rarely before or since, like, you have to be really good to affect me the way that did. It didn't have a title, just had a date. That's what got me into the alternate reality game and all the extra material. So I gotta say my reaction was, like, confusion and... wonder, and like it was great not to know what the movie was about. And for months people were like, okay, there's a monster in the movie, what is it? Is this a reboot of another franchise? What does the monster look like? And we agonized over that for like months, and it was such a great experience.
Some people think it was gonna be a Voltron movie.
Some people thought it was gonna be Voltron. Some people thought it was a Godzilla movie, and I think some people there was some crazy theories back then, like crazier than anything in this movie. Let's see.
I'm glad it was a Netflix thing. Also, when I first watched the trailer, I don't remember that much because it was 10 years ago. I do remember being really excited. Back then, I wasn't into the horror movies or found footage films yet. It took till about 2011 for me to really go, this is a cool genre, and actually get into horror. Because for a while, I was a big bitch baby, but now I'm cultured. So I remember watching it and being like freaked out and loving it.
And here's an interesting thing. We have one comment. James says, why do the aliens in 2 have advanced technology like that? And then, how do I pronounce this? DJ Def says, the infinite energy thing could have brought the aliens here. It's like,
First Contact.
I'm trying to think of a good reference. Like, this is like the dark version of Star Trek, where maybe we achieve, like, unlimited power, and the aliens notice us because of that. So instead of, like, Vulcans... coming down and saying, like, oh, live long and prosper, like, let's make a federation. They come down and say, like, we're going to kill you, and we're going to use you for resources. James says, people will be mad at the ending of this movie regardless. I think so. Again, like, I've already brought up that I wish it had a bit more with the ending, but clearly they ran out of time. Like, they ran out of time and were like, these are the reshoots, and we're putting it in, and this has got to get released. And then... consequently, I think they probably took it out of theaters because they were spending so little on marketing and other stuff that they were like, we just gotta get this out and get the word out.
Yeah, I think it worked, honestly.
James...
Because I was at work when this trailer dropped. And so today, the Han Solo trailer dropped and the Cloverfield trailer dropped. Let me tell you what was being talked about more at my work. Fucking Cloverfield. No one gave a shit about Star Wars. Everyone was talking about Cloverfield, and it was amazing.
Well, I mean, it's the Han Solo movie, so I don't know what you guys think. Differing opinions in differing countries or different locations, but, like, we're not excited. But anyway, Javier brings up a good point. They had the Cloverfield franchise slapped on this. That's why it's my least favorite, honestly, is because in hindsight, when you look at the husband storyline... That does not really add at all to the film.
When it first started, after the collider thing went off and they were in the other universe, and then it cut to the husband, we both did this to each other.
Yeah.
Like, we were both like, what? They're doing it. But then in the movie, like, the thing with Molly was never resolved.
The bite, they never talked about what was up with her arm. I wish they had done the thing with the bite. I know having a child explode at the end of your movie might be a bit dark.
But it's Netflix, so fuck it.
I know, this was TVMA, which technically makes it a rated R movie. There was nothing in it, though, that I would say was...
I don't know why it was rated R. Maybe
like, they said shit. And I know on TV
they said fuck.
Did they say fuck?
They said fuck.
Did they say it once, or...
I don't remember.
Because you get one per PG-13 movie, but let's see.
Which is so weird that there was
Luke Art says this movie had a bit of everything: sci-fi monsters, astronauts, and time travel. I agree. Like, I feel like this movie, again, like, regardless of what you think about the inserting of the reshoots, it kind of let you know that, like, the Cloverfield universe is a universe where anything can happen, and it's this freedom to, like, anyone can tell their story, but we have this, you know, ability to, like, connect it to this larger story.
Yeah, because this is a bit of taste of everything, kind of.
Yeah, it's like, hey, they kind of were like, hey, here's the giant monster, here's the...
A little bit scary.
Here's the intimate character kind of paranoia and drama from 10 Cloverfield Lane. Here's our big sci-fi story, and then going forward with the Overlord thing, who knows, maybe this has some hints of that, I don't know.
Yeah, so, James, we do think that she was bitten by one of the parasite things,
yeah. But the movie didn't show that, so
yeah.
Maybe it didn't.
They didn't look sick, but she was definitely distraught by the death of her uncle.
Yeah. And again, there's, like, some names dropped in the movie that I'm like, I mean, I know those aren't characters from the other movies, so is that just...
Yeah, but this film was just really good. It made me, like, we sat here talking for an hour about what could have happened in this movie, and I'm like, I'm still, like, I have so many questions, and I have so many things. She did look a little...
and then Leandra says, I don't know, don't you think that different timelines or different universes is an easy way out of everything? I mean, I can do a Jackass movie and put aliens at the end. And yes, well, I would agree. It's this thing where, cynically, I can look at it and say, like, oh, this is your way out of having to explain anything. You're not responsible for keeping continuity. Because there's other series where I'm clearly like, oh, well, you did a poor job of keeping the continuity. So that's the cynical way to look at it. I'm choosing to look at it more as... 10 Cloverfield Lane, I loved the movie completely, but I was trying to make it, like, part of it was me trying to figure out how to make it fit. And now it's this freedom where it can fit with the previously established stuff, or it doesn't have to. So it's not like one movie cannot kill this franchise now. So if we get one bad Cloverfield movie, it's like, well, we can try again next time. Like, it's not like other franchises where if you have something that kind of is the start of something, it might poison what's to come. This one, it's like, well, the Cloverfield series is an anthology series. It just happens to be one that's, like, super connected, kind of like a...
And I feel like this was, again, it's their way of saying that people in the future, no matter who's directing or writing, has a certain level of freedom, where they don't have to be tied down to this certain idea or plot line or canon or lore or whatever. They can sort of say, we'll take Tagarwada, but in this universe we'll make it this kind of a company, and they're doing this in this one, and our monsters look like this, or we don't have monsters, we have this thing, and who knows, and whatever they want to do. It gives them freedom, really. It's not so much a cop-out of getting out of having consistent lore. It more so makes it so that it is like in Black Mirror, where some Black Mirror stories will have similar technologies and stuff, but
stuff can cross over.
But the 100 million merits doesn't fall into White Christmas, but they're still both really good stories.
Right, and it's kind of like again, like, the cynical way to look at it is, oh, now the franchise doesn't have to make any sense. But it's been shown, like, I think this is the movie where, like, the paradoxes are going to be a thing. Like, I don't think in the other movies they're going to be as crazy. Like, I mean, Cloverfield 1, 10 Cloverfield Lane, they are in our world. They are in our world, but, like, there's one supernatural element, and then that affects the real world. Whereas in this movie, reality is shifting, so, like, the arm writing shit, like, they don't really have to explain that, but, you know.
James, in the first film, there's the Hammerfall thing. Yeah. Did they kill it?
So, here's the thing, is J.J. Abrams said, they killed the monster. If you play the help us message at the end of credits of the first movie. You reverse it says it's still alive. If you want to look at it, maybe that's just one of the other monsters waking up. So they kill it, but then another one comes up, and so from their point of view, that you can't kill this thing. Everything fits perfectly. If it does not, it does not matter. Again, yeah, that's the thing. Is like on one hand, you can get immersed and connect everything, but if you're a casual audience member, you don't need to see any other you don't have to see any Cloverfield film before the one you want to watch.
Yeah. Why were the husband's ears so small? I didn't realize that. Maybe that's a paradox.
Maybe his ears used to be larger.
Yeah, but since the paradox happened,
Yes, James, the government used the Hammerfall protocol on the Cloverfield monster in the first movie. And I think they do a similar thing at the end of this movie, but it's very ambiguous because in Cloverfield 1, Hammerfall is like, I believe it's not nuclear at all, but it's like they drop like the largest megaton bombs to destroy a whole city. So I don't know if that could be the same thing.
And the idea is that the monsters live underneath the seabed, and that the satellite crashing or the Cloverfield station crashing was what awoken all of them. So maybe dropping a fucking megaton bomb will unleash mommy, which is why there's a huge one at the end of this movie. Because it's my personal theory is that the film isn't the same as Cloverfield, and that it starts before the movie. When the bombs fall with the husband, that's Hammerfall, and then at the end, they arrive when the mom comes up.
When the mom comes up, yeah.
So that's my personal theory, but that's just a theory.
Subscribe to me. We'll do a live. You know what, Leandra, if you wanna, link us your channel,
I will subscribe to you.
I will subscribe to you.
You've interested me.
And remember at the beginning of... We'll wait till he retypes that. Risk Games Icy You Feel Me says, maybe in the other universe, husband's ears were bigger, so that tiny ear trait wasn't passed down to the kids, and because they didn't have small ears, they couldn't hear there was a fire and they didn't die.
Holy shit! That makes sense, though.
Amazing.
That is canon. I don't care who you are or what you say. That is canon. Did you know that's secretly J.J. Abrams?
That's I know that's you, JJ. Please make episode 9 good, because I didn't really like I didn't like The Last Jedi.
We're not here for Star Wars.
And again, Brian, that's his opinion. I'm of the opinion that this is like the monsters waking up later, and so this is a timeline where the Cloverfield monsters woke up in 2018 as opposed to 2008. That's what makes sense to me, at least. Because he's using
JJ called the canon.
JJ called it canon.
We didn't.
He did.
JJ did.
Let's see.
We're not that good.
Yeah.
I know, we're on a camera, and it seems like we're on this pedestal of knowledge, but literally, this is just we're all talking, and we happen to be the only ones on camera. That's all it is.
And Leandra, what you said, you love what we do with live videos. We don't usually do live videos. If you check out our channel, which I suggest you do, we have conversations with our friend Nathan and our friend Haley. Upcoming.
Spoiler alert. Joe wants to spoiler for the next episode.
But so we do reviews and stuff, and we put a lot of effort into it. We're still starting out as a channel. This one, we weren't sure if we were going to do a review immediately after, so we're just doing this live show for you guys to get engaged with you guys. So Luke Art said at the beginning of 10 Cloverfield Lane, everything looked normal, so this movie could be happening. And again, that's true. Because they mentioned in this movie that there's blackouts. But again, there's the time jump for when she gets onto the station. And they say it's been 2 years, so maybe 10 Cloverfield Lane. But again, that doesn't make sense because the alien war wipes out a lot of the East Coast.
Yeah, it's interesting to try to fit it all together. Because remember after Lane came out, we were like, how does this all fit? Because there's one bit where she is in his attic and there's a Taguato letter, and we were like...
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah. Do you remember Alagdama, or is it Amygdala? It was an ARG for a webpage, and all the people think it was a Cloverfield ARG. I heard a little bit about that. I don't know if it actually is. So what DJDEF said, in the other timeline, Clover hasn't happened. Yeah. So in the 10 Cloverfield Lane timeline, maybe the monster never woke up. Or maybe it wakes up after 10 Cloverfield Lane, and we do get that monsters versus aliens showdown. Who knows? I'm still really mad I can't find my Slusho shirt because it's in the apartment somewhere.
I'm mad that you can't find it too.
The space station tragedy. I feel like it's too easy to say there's a space station in every timeline, but I think what they were implying is that in a bunch of the timelines, the space station kind of bleeds them all together.
Sorry, I'm doing research about this ARG.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find the Slusher shirt again. It's gonna be somewhere dumb. I know that.
It is, and it's gonna be really funny when you find it. Nazis in Cloverfield. Yeah, I mean that. So the interesting thing about Overlord is like, what's gonna happen in that movie? It's like, what's the story that they're gonna try to tell? That's like World War II.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And
much
what's gonna what could possibly happen in that type of a setting with the films that we've seen so far? Because they've all kind of been revolving around the world ending or being invaded.
Yeah.
In a modern setting. So will that happen in like the past?
Well, this reminds me of I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer for Death Stranding, the Hideo Kojima game, but that has like some weird World War II Nazis take over kind of thing. Yeah. So if they wanted to do the classic, what if like the Nazis are winning World War II or something like that, and then there happen to be like zombies or some shit, like, yeah, who knows? Anything could happen. Really,
it's cool to think about, like, because again, with God Particle or Cloverfield Paradox, we knew nothing really. Yeah, Overlord is a Cloverfield movie.
Yeah, confirmed.
Because the thing with Paradox was that it was not always a Cloverfield film until near the end of production, and then JJ was like, let's just make it Cloverfield. They did some reshoots, but Overlord was the one they were making as the next Cloverfield movie. So that's why we're getting 2 films in 1 year of the same universe. Hiroshima wakes up the monsters. I was also thinking that if they do this would be fucking stupid. Hey.
Ta-da!
It'd be stupid if this happened, but like, what if the space station arrives in 1945 and is actually Hiroshima?
There's a line you don't cross as far as like offense, and I don't think they would cross that. Javier says a really funny joke that I hope doesn't offend any of you. I hope they are in a universe of the good version of Episode 7.
I hope so too, for their sake.
JJ in the chat is gonna hate on you
for their sake.
But yeah, Slush Show. So I have my Slush Show shirt, showing support. Slush Show. You can't have only 7. Yep. And yeah, it's my. You can tell how old it is because I ordered it off of Amazon. It's got like lines through the image, so it's clearly like from 2008.
Yeah.
I also have this 10 Cloverfield Lane Cannibal Airlines T-shirt.
I can't wait to buy this when it comes out. Paradox.
Well, I want to do a marathon, but more importantly, he and I have done like fan edit stuff. It'd be interesting to try to edit all 3 movies into like one sprawling, massive, ridiculous film. It'd probably be easier for like 1 and Paradox, but like you could kind of fit. It'd be very confusing. I don't know how you would make that work, but you could. Someone better than I could do it.
And someone with more time.
Because I'm editing like more videos for this channel, for instance.
And I'm taking a break from editing and playing Dark Souls.
Well, you know, we're gonna do some Souls videos at some point. So. Eventually. But anyway,
this is such.
We've barely talked about the actual like,
which is fine because like,
yeah,
the plot itself is just.
It's kind of like one of those films. It's a film I really like. You know, Sunshine. It's got some Interstellar in there, huh?
The Core,
yeah, I vaguely remember that.
I always love making the Core references because no one ever gets them because no one fucking remembers the Core except for me.
Lucart said, "Man, 10 years, and we just now have an answer to this movie. What do you think about how this franchise, basically how is it still so alive?" I think.
Well, because it was such a cult movie that like it sort of was always in everybody's minds as like one of the up there with found footage movies because like there are a lot of like dumb monster movies and this was like really up because this that came out around the time of like Sharknado and stuff and like when you have Sharknado and Cloverfield it's like well
I don't think it's just that. I think the Cloverfield 1 really tapped into like everybody's the psyche of that time. Like again, I know we were making like we still are kind of making movies based around like 9/11, but I feel like Cloverfield on the level of hey. It's very intense to see, like, New York being destroyed. So it's tapping into that kind of subconscious fear. kaiju films kind of had gone to a rest after the Godzilla films in Japan had ended, so I feel like that was on people's minds and they were interested in. The ARG definitely brought some people in.
Yeah, the ARG was very interesting.
The fact that you could just go in and not know what the hell was going to happen helped. I think it just stuck with people.
And there's also that big thing about, like, oh, this movie will cause seizures because it's so shaky. And
that was, like, overplayed, but honestly,
like,
that gave the movie, like...
I talked to someone at work today who actually didn't know there was a second Cloverfield movie.
Yeah.
And he was like, I didn't like the first one. All I remember is that, like, it gave people, like, seizures and stuff. And I was like, there's more than that. Yeah.
I think it's just a franchise that... And it's not even... Because, obviously, they're not direct sequels in the traditional sense. I think it's just, like, the tone and, like, the mystery
it's
is
cool
definitely great.
It's cool to see an anthology film series. Which is something so awesome to just... Because it is like Twilight Zone and Black Mirror, but on, like, a film budget and scale.
Yeah.
Which is...
Higher scale, yeah.
Awesome.
Talking to what James said, do you think Godzilla and Cloverfield happen? No. I don't think that's ever going to happen. Like, I know it's like, hey, these are the two biggest kaiju we have, but I know they're doing Kong versus Godzilla.
I'm not talking smack about Sharknado. I'm just saying, like, in terms of quality.
But
I love schlock as much as the next person. Believe me.
I think Pacific Rim and Godzilla almost happened, because they are both owned by Legendary. I think, like, maybe if you made, like, an alternate version of Godzilla, because I just don't see the grimness of that franchise mixing with the over the top anime-ness of Pacific Rim.
Though Kong Skull Island and Pacific Rim could work because
Kong Skull Island was definitely more of, like, that anime action, so they might be going in a different direction. Let's see.
Paradox is everywhere. That's the point of Paradox.
Yeah. The thing that bothered me is that in the first Cloverfield, there's no mention of an energy crisis. Well, again, AE 86, that's true. I'm still operating under the opinion that this timeline is where the Cloverfield monster doesn't wake up till 10 years later from what it did in that first movie. So that's my explanation. And again, like, Cloverfield, like, he was going to go work for this big company, and yeah, there was no energy crisis at all.
Oh, hey, Tyler. What's up? That's really funny that you're here.
Where's Tyler? Is he the monkey man?
That's so funny.
Amazing.
Yeah, alright, you all said they were unremarkable and understand. Yes, I get you. I feel you.
They should do a movie from the monster's perspective on him being pissed they woke him up for nectar. I think a comedy from the Cloverfield monster's perspective about how he's, like, this child who just happens to be able to smash buildings, and then he just, like, runs into a bunch of shit. I think that's, like, probably, like, 20 years from now, and it would be done by Pixar.
No, Illumination.
Illumination, okay. Let's see.
Because it could be a quality film. Pixar might try to make it good.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the version that Abrams promised back then from the video from the soldier's perspective. I like the fact that the Cloverfield monster, that the Cloverfield movies aren't staying to found footage, but would it be great to see, like, a good found footage movie again? Like, a really good one?
When's the last time you watched one of those?
When was the last time you watched a found footage movie and went, that's one of my favorite films of the year? But
probably not as Troll Hunter.
I would love it if they did, like imagine if they did Overlord.
See, the minions would be the little creatures.
Yeah, the minions would be the parasites.
The minions were
because they suck the life out of all consumers. But if they like, let's say next year, if they want to do this 2 anthology Cloverfield movie thing a year, for whatever reason,
they probably won't keep that up.
They won't keep it up. But let's say they do. Like, let's say next year they do, like, the big Cloverfield movie, and then they have, like, the found footage low budget one from a soldier's point of view. That'd be pretty great. The characters are so unremarkable and uninteresting that it brought down the overall film from. I think you mean from the original one.
No. He's talking about the first movie.
Oh, he means the characters are unremarkable and uninteresting. I guess that's fair. I can only say that I connected to them. Like, the quiet scenes of, like, him on the, like, it's basic, like, drama stuff. Him and his girlfriend, but, like, I feel like it actually is really well done. Like, if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you.
All in the craziness, of course, of a city being destroyed, and like
the fact that he, in the midst of the monster crisis, just runs back into that collapsing building for her.
Yeah, that was I love that.
Like that's I don't know. I feel like them dying together. That's pretty. It made me invested, at least. Let's see. Monster at the end screaming, "Where's my baby?" Yeah, that's.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like, really pissed. Like, awesome, narrow blood relatives. I would love more movie connections, Leandro says, or at least give more answers in the films. I agree. Like, obviously, like I've said before, I would like more direct sequels to the previous movies. But now they can take their time with it. Like, we can have a movie made 5 years from now with, like, old Mary Elizabeth Winstead with, like, gray in her hair and an eye patch, like, fighting aliens. James says, so in Paradox, they fixed the crisis and another monster came 10 years after. Maybe?
That's why I love this movie. It's so, like
I think...
Fuck you for trying to analyze me.
Like, yeah, I think that in I'll say our timeline, because we're looking at this from the point of view of, let's say we're in the universe where Cloverfield Station disappears and then comes back. I think, for whatever reason, the monsters wake up. It's just 10 years later than it would have been because the satellite didn't fall, or whatever fell didn't fall. DJ DEF says if they release the 5-minute episodes throughout the year from survivor perspectives, that would be cool. Or motion comics. I definitely think that, like, they should... they're into the ARG and they've done the manga and stuff before. Do, like, small-scale Cloverfield, like, web comics or, like, short films. I think that would be fantastic. Like, imagine going into a Cloverfield movie in theaters and there's a short Cloverfield movie set in a different universe.
Yeah.
Like, it's like Pixar, but, like, demented Pixar.
It's kind of, like, weird, but, like, the new Junji Ito collection, the anime, there's cool bits where, like, the first 17 to 15 minutes are like a bigger story, then it ends with like a smaller, like 5 to 7 minute story, kind of like that, where you just go into a movie and it's like you're like 45 minutes in and the movie ends and a new one starts and you're like,
oh yeah,
the fuck.
Yeah,
and it's like, hey, you're getting 2 different stories right now because they didn't fit a film time.
AE86 says, I think a more shocking ending would have been Ava coming back and telling her husband she is okay, then she hears her kids are alive.
Damn it, Barry.
Look, yeah. Honestly, I don't know if I will, like, swear on this, but I think that may have been the original ending. Because, like, I remember my original idea was, oh, she's going to get back, and it's a third timeline.
Yeah.
Like, that was my
That's
idea.
how we wanted to end. She gets there, she gets home, and then, like, her husband's not there. It's, like, someone else.
Her husband's dead, but her kids are alive. Like, something like that.
Yeah,
something like that. And then the husband's, like, in that first universe, and he's getting, like, killed, but she can't reach him anymore.
Yeah.
Because she's landed. I think that would be the ending I would probably do.
Yeah, me too.
But because I don't think they'll follow up on the mother Cloverfield monster, at least not for a while. Leandro says, what happened with the other Cloverfield station, the one that crashed in the ocean, and where the Black Mirror girl wasn't on it? I mean, why crash in the ocean?
The crash in the ocean is because under the seabed, I think, is where the monsters are.
Yeah, well,
that's what I believe it's...
Yeah, like, yeah. Monkey Man says, the lack of answers is a large part of the appeal, though. The answers would lead to less acceptance by the niche it has control over. It leaves a problem of splitting the fan base on canon. And that's exactly what I was saying. Is if you have fans who hate 10 Cloverfield Lane, this movie's like, doesn't matter. That movie does not have to exist for you. Like, you just have the first movie and this one.
LucArts, I love you. Have a good night's sleep, and definitely check out our stuff.
Yeah, check out our stuff.
I suggest Star Trek and Berserk.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I typically would recommend our Black Angel video, but it got taken down due to copyright. And hopefully, I'm trying to get it back up.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get it back up if we have to re-upload.
I have to fight legally, but it's okay.
We've got our stuff now. But yeah, so Monkey Man said absolutely that, like...
Let's sit back here with you.
Like, the fans can now all be interested in putting the puzzle together without being worried about, oh, the ARG said this, but the movie said this.
Yeah, everyone's valid unless you do some stupid shit.
Yeah, like, obviously there's I'm not saying that this is immune to, like...
There is a line, like you know, the space station being Hiroshima, but...
Yeah.
But that's the line. I drew it for you.
James, James, you headed out. I'll see you later. Thanks for popping in. This has been pretty fantastic so far.
I love you guys. I love all of you that came. You people that don't even know who we are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's like Cloverfield. Cloverfield fans are the best fans because we just like hanging out and talking about shit.
We just want to figure it out. We just want to know.
DJ DEF says some people need things in black and white. That's true. Again, like they're like...
Which is why I would say this film series isn't really for them. And which is why this movie is definitely on Netflix and not, like...
Yeah, because I feel like if you put this on... Like, I know people were mad that 10 Cloverfield Lane wasn't as connected to the first movie, so I feel if you put this one in theaters, it would have been even more of a cock tease, which, debatably, yeah, it was a cock tease, and I just have to accept that, like, that was them trying to tie it all together, and that it's not... As fucking amazing as it felt to see the giant Cloverfield monster... I'm putting it aside that that's going to happen. Like, I don't. Overlord's probably not going to have any of that. The next movie may, but probably not. So it's kind of like this thing where I understand why people would be upset. So putting it on Netflix kind of softens that blow, as if it's like, hey, here's like the.
You could potentially completely miss this movie, and that's okay. Because it is just its own thing that just answers the questions. And
this is definitely the least standalone one, because it can't be standalone, because it's giving the answer to why the Cloverfield movies all have weird shit happening. Whereas the previous two movies, you can watch those and not see the other one. This one, I feel like you have to see at least the first one.
At least.
Because, like...
Or know what happened in it.
Or at least know what happened, because otherwise this would make no sense. And that is, that is the case. Monkey Man says, black and white, not having black and white allows for discussion of all the possible answers and let us make a story better than a definitive answer would be. I agree. Like, obviously, there's some things where JJ and I have a complex relationship where I really like about half his stuff. And, like, half the stuff he produces and the mystery box idea is cool, but I like it better in these movies because they're about the individual stories and not about continuous serialized storytelling where we make it up as we go along. Because, like, I have my problems with Lost, I have my problems with the new Star Wars films, and I know he didn't do the second one, but Leandro says 10 Cloverfield Lane is a great movie, but if it's a blood relative, at least give us answers, because we will end with 12,938,015 questions, never answers. I get that, Leandro. I would say that, like, and this, I hate saying that, like, you should do the job of the creators. Like, anytime people, like, make excuses when someone doesn't put something in their script, I think that's bad. But I think this movie kind of provides an excuse, like, hey, make your own story of how this all connects, or what have you, but don't feel the pressure of having to watch everything we make to understand it.
Yeah. Which is what I think is honestly very awesome. And I've said it again. I said it before, I'll say it again. It's like, a new director can come in and kind of do what they want to do. And this movie gives them the freedom to say, hey, here's the name of Cloverfield. Like, do what you can with it.
Yeah. And
don't worry about what happened in Lane or Paradox. Yeah. Or
if you want to use that stuff, awesome. But
if you don't, whatever. Yeah. Make a World War II movie. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Javier says, do you think they actually have a plan for 4? We said earlier that I think that 4 was always going to be a Cloverfield movie, and then God Particle was something that was being made, and they said, hey, this allows us to, like, tie it all together. Let's make this a Cloverfield movie, put some reshoots in. I think 4, in my opinion, we'll have to wait till we see it, but I think that one was probably conceived of as another Cloverfield anthology movie.
It definitely, like, Lane came out and they said, all right, what do we do next?
Yeah.
And then
And then God Particle was like something, like, there's been a lot of stuff going on with it. So like the original version of it, it's now Paradox, so it went through some transformations.
Kind of like how Valencia became Lane.
Yeah. DJDEF says, every time I watch a film or go to the forums or message boards to discuss things I didn't understand or see if anyone else picked up on. Yeah. And again, that's what I've liked about this franchise and this community since 2007. Is just the way that it brings people together to enjoy a film, like, outside of the film, and then when you watch the film, you spend time talking about it. It just creates, like, great discussion.
It was an hour and 47-minute movie. We've almost spent that amount of time discussing it, and we're still finding enjoyment out of the movie we just spent the last, like, 2 hours watching.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to talk about it at work tomorrow and the next day, and with everybody I see.
Like, we're going to be thinking about this movie, and then building up to the next one coming out later this year,
or maybe tomorrow.
For all I know, it comes out like
I don't trust them anymore. Like, honestly,
at this point, I think it could come out like 2 months from now. Honestly, like, it wouldn't surprise me in the least. Leandro says, I get it, but for example, Lost, J.J. Abrams production, a lot of questions, but only one timeline, so answers at the end. Yeah, so, like, that's what I was saying, is that when J.J. has to, like, do this mystery box for, like, multiple iterations, a lot of the times I rub up against it when he has to do something isolated, like he does Mission Impossible 3. He can't really do the mystery box because that's one story, and nobody's going to give a shit in the next Mission Impossible movie, so he does, like, a singular story. Or, like, Star Trek 2009. Like, that did not have a whole lot of mystery box. Whereas like this is being produced by him, they're kind of taking the idea of the mystery box, but like they pretty much explained it now, right? Like, I mean, the actual thing about the aliens, like, yeah, we don't know where they are or what they're from, but like, you know, it gives us at least something to go off of.
Yeah.
Whereas before, when I was like, okay, so this universe has sub aquatic monsters and aliens, and it's just like elements that you have to like reconcile as to this universe has now it's like, well, one universe had the aliens and one doesn't.
Now it's more of a question of how does this universe work, not how does it work connected to everything else.
Right.
Unless you directly say in the movie, this is this.
Yeah, and again, I wouldn't put it past them to eventually do like direct sequels in different timelines. That could be cool. Leandro says, I don't see any of the Star Wars movies. I don't like that kind of epic-y sci-fi adventure.
I'm not gonna hate you. It's okay.
No, I don't hate you.
Because I will say this. It's controversial, but by theatrical Star Wars films, if you take it by percentage, I don't like Star Wars percentage based because I only like 3 movies and I tolerate 2.
And for me, it's like I love 3 movies. Or sorry, I love 4 movies. 2 of them are like mediocre, and then the rest are bad. But it's still
on the whole, I actually don't like Star Wars.
Right. Yeah. It's fine if you don't.
It doesn't work for everybody, honestly. I think there's very few films that I will say that you have to see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, usually when I say you have to see something, it's more on like I know you pretty well and I know what you would like.
Yeah, but as a general thing, like everyone should see this movie.
If you don't like Indiana Jones because of its tone, like don't watch it. And again, that's what I'm saying about Cloverfield is it's like
I love Indiana Jones.
Oh, there you go.
Good.
Quentin Tarantino films are perfect. Cloverfield's the only sci-fi alien movie that you love. Leandro, why would you say that is? Is it because just kind of the way they tell the stories from like the human level?
That is one of the interesting things about Alien.
Oh, I'll see you later, Javier. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
And hey, Leandro, I will say, if you like Quentin Tarantino but don't like epic sci-fi, let me tell you this. Here's your entry point. Quentin Tarantino is doing the next Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
There's your crossover. It's kind of like if you're reading a lot of fantasy, you're reading a lot of sci-fi, and then you read Dune. You're like, maybe I'll read some fantasy now. It's like Dune's a good crossover point. Like it's
funny thing is also that the writer of this film is the co-writer of Star Trek Beyond, which is my favorite of the J.J. Abrams Star Trek.
Yeah.
Should be everybody's, but no. But anyway.
Oh man, Inner Darkness. I like the.
No.
I like the. Saw.
Oh, good.
Let's talk about Saw.
Let's talk about Saw. No,
it's just a shuttlecast now. Fuck it.
We love the Saw movies.
All 7 of them.
Everybody, all 7 of them. There are no others. But so the Saw movies, I think what I like about those is it's like it's the puzzle aspect of that. I honestly think there's 2 camps of people that hate on Saw. One that are like really arrogant and don't think it's that smart when it really is. Because Saw, like when you look at how like perfectly constructed the first 7 films are, it's you gotta imagine like that drawing board was like that whole wall right there.
And it spilled into the floor and on the ceiling.
And then the other camp just don't like the violence.
Which is fair.
Like
I would like to do a cut of all the films where it's less gore and more story for those people who don't like all the gore.
And for me, like a lot of the times in the Saw movies, the Saw movies on the whole usually do not play any of those traps as like, in my opinion, as voyeuristic. Usually I can really connect to the characters and like there's certain ones that actually like fucking like break me down, but
like the bit in Saw 2, spoiler alert for Saw 2, where the ex-heroin addict has to jump into a pit of dirty heroin needles and get a key. Yeah. Fuck that whole scene. Yeah. So hard. But it's great because like I'm not there for the violence. I'm there because I'm like, this person has spent her like adult life fighting this, and now she has to literally wade through it.
When they describe Saw as torture porn, I don't see it like that. I see like Hostel as torture porn because like that's not really a well written story or characters. Whereas in Saw, on the whole, in my opinion, the characters are usually like you can relate to them and their struggle.
I'm there for Hoffman. I'm there for John. I'm there for those characters. I'm not there to see people being torn apart because I can just watch Hostel or something like that.
Or not watch that.
And not, well, I mean, if I wanted that sort of thing. Yeah. But since I don't, I want my characters. And because I always explain Saw to people as there's 7 movies. They're all an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
If you cut every movie in half, that is a like 14-part TV show.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's how it feels, honestly.
Leandro answered our question earlier by saying that is a future movie director of a low budget film for sure. I love more realistic films, and Cloverfield shows more character history. Yeah, no, for real. Like, it's the thing about Godzilla films where there's some good ones and there's some with really good characters, but like on the whole, a lot of the humans are like there because we need humans or the audience won't be able to relate, even though the audience is all there because they like Godzilla. They like his personality and they want to see him blow shit up.
Yeah,
like,
which is why I watch Godzilla films.
Like, there's some that have really great characters, but a lot of the time, like in Godzilla movies, if you're watching them, it's like, and then Godzilla's having this really cool scene, and then here's some military people, like, kind of just like with no emotion, saying like, "Oh my god, it's Godzilla," and you're just kind of like,
"Oh mein Gott."
Whereas like Cloverfield is like, hey, what if like some people were at a party and they were having like some issues as a friend group, and then now they have to survive a monster attack, and then that's why the movie has such a long setup, so that you forget that there's a monster attack coming for a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I think I like character pieces more than plot pieces. Yeah. I mean, I like character films more than films that are like about the plot. Like I think there's this one quote. I forget who it's from. There wasn't a lot of plot in the way in that movie. You know.
Just... I think it's like always good to have a balance. I'm saying more from like as if it's like, oh, it's a monster movie. I didn't really like a lot. Well, it's not that I didn't like. It's just that a lot of the characters in Godzilla 2014, aside from one who dies really early on, I don't really care about. And so it makes me just want to watch the Godzilla bits. Whereas in Cloverfield, I like both because the monster is really scaled down. You barely get anything of the monster, but when you do, it's great. It's just that the characters are the focus.
Yeah.
Leandro has a big collection of slasher films from the 80s and 90s. Saw's the only one of the only ones from 2017, which that's entirely fair. Like, how many like really good horror franchises do we have of the modern era that are not remakes?
Okay, good horror franchises. Cloverfield.
Yeah.
Fuck, because they all. I mean, successful. The whole Insidious and Conjuring, but I haven't seen those because they look generic as fuck.
They're all the same movie.
And I do not trust Blumhouse with like my life.
Let me tell you something. You watch Insidious 1, you've seen all of them. You can pick anyone out. Just pick like Conjuring 2, Hatchet. Does Hatchet have more than one movie? I don't know this.
We both just like, wait a minute.
Let me take a look here. Yeah.
Hatchet 2 and 3.
Wow.
And they have the same main people.
Okay. I'll watch the Hatchet movies. Yeah, I'll do that.
We'll do the Hatchet retrospective.
The Hatchet retrospective, yes.
Yeah, not a lot of good horror films, like franchises nowadays. It's kind of like select films will be good. Like Oculus was really good.
Oculus was great.
Because that director is good. He does...
Oculus is fantastic.
Oculus is really good.
Babadook is good. I would say that, like, in the very end of the movie, they kind of drop the ball on how they present the monster. Because it's, like, the way they use, like, stock sound effects really kind of, like, pulled me right the fuck out of that movie.
Yeah. I will say that when it's done, it will be a good horror series.
Yeah. The Witch...
And I know it will. The Witch is a very good horror movie.
The Witch is good. I'm curious about It Comes at Night or
It Comes at Night. It looks really good. So does A Quiet Place.
Yeah. Or no, wait, It Comes at Night already came out.
I will tell you what's not a good horror movie of this generation. Raw.
Fuck, dude. Foreshadowing that review right there.
Raw is a bad movie, in my opinion. Mama. Yeah.
Mama was good. That was pretty terrifying, I must say.
I only actually watched the short film for that. I never watched the full movie.
Oh,
I should though, because the guy did it. So
yeah, full movie's good. I would like there's a few like character jump moments, but it's like on the whole really fucking solid.
Trial of Leaves.
What? Don't drop my own stuff in here. I don't want this to be about me. I'm trying to think of like really good horror movies, but definitely I would put like Cloverfield 1 in that. Cloverfield 2 is more of like a thriller. Like a weird. Did you see Leatherface, the newest one? No,
I didn't.
And I don't want to.
I trusted my Leatherface fan to recommend it to me, and he was kind of like,
Who's the Leatherface fan?
Jesse.
Oh, did he watch it?
Yeah.
Well, Leandra, did you like Leatherface? I mean, I heard not really good things about it. And
I think Jesse didn't like it.
I mean,
don't remember
from what I know and from what I've seen, I was not interested. I only like about 2 of all those movies. The skydiving scene in Godzilla 2014 was great. Yeah. I mean, that's what sold me on the movie.
Yeah, honestly.
Like, honestly, the music with that skydiving scene is the reason I saw that movie. Because it was that effective. And that was so good, they left that music in the movie.
Yeah.
Like...
Your Next was a good horror movie.
Yeah, which I still haven't seen.
It's good.
I still haven't seen Your Next.
It's good. Yeah, man. Like, horror is an interesting franchise, because, like... Or genre. Because people don't...
Hush. Hush was a great movie. You seen Hush?
Yes.
It's the deaf
That's the same
woman.
guy did Oculus.
That's right. Yeah.
That guy's killing it. I think he also did. Did he do Winchester? I didn't see Winchester.
Too bad they let everything else down. Monkey Man. If you were talking about Godzilla 2014, I kind of agree.
Yeah.
Like, I like the Godzilla scenes, and I like Bryan Cranston, but Leandro, new Halloween movie coming, co-written by Danny McBride, and they're getting the band back together, which will be interesting. You liked Leatherface, and you liked the new Saw movie. I really didn't, but I'm glad that you did enjoy it. I think that the newest one was probably, like, it was different writers, and you can really tell, like, the way they try to, like, kind of...
Here's Gerald's Game, which I have to see.
Gerald's Game, I haven't seen that.
And he's doing Dr. Sleep.
Oh. They're doing the Dr. Sleep movie.
Yeah, because Gerald's Game did so well, they're doing Dr. Sleep.
Do you think they're going to get Jack Nicholson back? To be, like, the Phantom Jack Torrance? I would actually love that.
I think if they give him enough money, and Netflix has the money,
yeah,
that they will get him back.
Yeah, that's fucking
I'm sad we never got that Stanley Hotel prequel show. We never got it.
I'm really glad we didn't.
Let me tell you this: in the hands of a good showrunner, that could have been interesting, like 1 or 2 season show.
It could have been interesting. My problem with the idea of like a Shining prequel is like, hey, remember all these ghosts? Let's see how they became the ghosts.
Yeah,
and you know where everybody ends up, and it's like
it has the high potential of being bad.
Yes,
but
you could maybe do like I'd say like a 1 season show. But
you went to go see Hostel with your dad and it was just porn.
Yeah,
that's like when I was watching Game of Thrones with my mom when it first came out, and it was sort of like, ugh. That's embarrassing. We should try to wrap this up pretty soon.
Yeah,
because we're almost at the length of the movie, and I opened in the morning.
We are. How much do we have? We are the length of the movie now. We have just passed the movie.
Yeah, take that,
anyway,
JJ.
So anyway, what series did you like?
Like horror series?
Of horror series? That would depend. A lot of it's based on like the individual parts. Like I like Halloween 1, 2, H2O, and
Alien and Aliens.
Alien is probably my favorite. The Alien and The Thing.
Yeah.
Are my favorite horror series.
The Thing is really good.
Yeah.
Rubber. Fucking Rubber.
Yeah, Rubber's a really fucking awesome.
Oh, so no, Leandro, there was a bit where people were. It was in development. They were going to do a prequel to The Shining, all about the hotel,
kind of like Hannibal and Bates Motel.
Yeah, but it never got made. But it was in the talks for a while of being made. It never happened, and I don't know. I would like to see the dice roll on that one. See what they bring out of that. Could have been cool.
Yeah. But
Rubber was fucking amazing. I sat down for that thinking this looks shit, and then I left it being like, wow, I'm emotionally and religiously moved. Preacher, I saw the first 2 episodes of, and it's not that I don't like it. It's just when I watched it, my cable was being dumb, and I couldn't watch past the first 2 episodes.
Yeah. And
so I just haven't bothered to pick it up. Though I do want to watch it really bad.
I've read the Preacher comics, and like that shit is like messed up in a good way.
Yeah, I want to. From what I've seen, really good.
But anyway, we've had quite a momentous stream. Got a lot of, I'd say, like almost about 8 people.
Thank you all so much, because this was literally we sat down to record this, And then I'm like, what if we just stream it? Because I don't want to edit this later.
Yeah, I don't want to edit.
Because we're editing a lot.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's just not. And I thank you all so much for coming here. This might become a thing where we just do new movies,
new stuff, and just stream it. Because like editing for new movies sucks because if it's not out like really fast, like all those other content creators who like slave away so they get it out like the day it comes out, it's like.
So we recorded like stuff for Dark Tower and Atomic Blonde when it came out, and it was like good conversation, but like even a week after it came out, we were like, fuck, it's already irrelevant. Like it's already kind of like losing its.
Arrival was a great film.
Oh god, Arrival and Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, and anything by Denis Villeneuve is good.
Denis Villeneuve is
that I've seen. I haven't seen his like first two.
Is my Jesus Christ. Like I love that man.
Let him do Dune. But anyway, so Cloverfield, the Cloverfield Paradox, was kind of sprung on us, and then the stream we sprung on you guys, but you found it. What are your closing thoughts on the Cloverfield Paradox, about Overlord, and about kind of what this movie did?
I'm happy that a major film company was confident enough in their property to release only one trailer and then release that movie on the same day.
That's unheard of.
That is so fucking amazing. Because like that is confidence in an IP. Because it's literally the name Cloverfield is what sells you on wanting to go see it.
Literally,
Because I remember I was at work and I looked down at my phone and I see we have a chat for the Escape Pod that we all talking, and I see Cloverfield trailer and I freaked out, and then I sat down to watch it and it said tonight, and I'm like,
well, because see, and I linked it because I had seen it during the Super Bowl, and I linked like the grainy version. I'm like, that's weird. I can't find the official version because they're not going to release the official version if it just comes out that night, right? So it's like
and it's kind of cool because Cloverfield kind of got popular on word of mouth, and so this film releases on word of mouth like
the day of.
And just the story's really interesting.
People Google it. They're like, oh, it's on Netflix. I'll watch that.
And the story's really cool. And like, I love a lot of the characters, and I hate a lot of the characters. And I love to hate one character, Jensen. Honestly, because she's so complex. Because it's like needs of the many, needs of the few, and I'm like, one. Girl, but like you could have done that a bit better. So I liked it on the whole. I like how we now have a anthology film series in the works that literally just you put the name on it and people will see it, because it gives because Dan Trachtenberg, who did 10 Cloverfield Lane, I don't know if you know this, but early 2000s there was a Portal short film that was made, and he did it, and that got him like into Hollywood, and he didn't do a lot for a while, but he made this movie called Valencia. But like, for it to make money, they just put the Cloverfield name on it. They slap it on, and then that's what makes it like. Well, because if it's just been Valencia.
Well, there was a point where they was a bit more so than this movie for sure. They were like, we want to make this a sequel to Cloverfield before it had begun shooting. Yeah. So he didn't like have it finished or anything.
But it's still cool to think that like these filmmakers who haven't like become like the next JJs or Ron Howards or whoever the fuck have a chance to be like, here's not only a franchise but one that you can do whatever you want with, right? Because because there's a lot of things where you give a new filmmaker a franchise, but they have to like keep in with the rules.
Ryan Johnson. Sorry. The Last Jedi. Sorry.
Jurassic
something's in my throat.
And so I like that, and this is I like the characters, I like the plot of like, you created a time paradox. Right. And actually dealing with that outside of like, oh, one weird thing has happened. It's like, no, you're trying to get up and your arm goes through the wall and you take it out and
it was something that you couldn't really do. It was kind of like a more hardcore Doctor Who, where like Doctor Who does like weird shit where just time is just weird, and like they were able to do that, but just like have a bit more of a hard edge on it. Yeah.
In the end, I like this movie a lot.
I like the movie a lot. I think it was really good. Again, it's my least favorite of the three, but like kind of going in, kind of when I saw what the movie was doing, where it was trying to like link everything, I already knew I was kind of not going to like it as much. That's not a detriment. Like again, like when you look at it structurally, the movie should have, like, I wished it had more time for either more time with the characters we had on the station, or give us more of the Cloverfield monster stuff with the husband, because it kind of felt like the movie was being pulled in two directions a little bit.
I will say, it still needed another 30 minutes.
It needed another 30 minutes, honestly. Like, I know it would be the longest Cloverfield film,
but I don't care.
It probably should have just been 30 minutes. And it's streaming on Netflix, so there's no reason. It's because they had it completed, honestly. Like, they had it completed. They spent the money to do the reshoots, and we're like, we don't have enough time to, like, do any more reshoots. We have to release this.
Yeah.
So on that hand, it's a bit unfortunate. I wish it was about 30 minutes longer. I liked all the actors. I liked the direction. I liked the effects. I liked the way it tied the Cloverfield universe together and, like, opened up the ability to do more without being weighed down. It does have those few flaws, mostly structurally. Like, I wouldn't say, like, there was too many flaws with it. But on the whole, I really liked the movie, and I am really excited for Overlord. I want to see what the hell that would even be, like a World War II Cloverfield story.
Because with God Particle, I kind of had an idea of what it would be about.
Yeah.
And then when I saw the trailer and heard the name, we sort of had the idea of what the film would be, and we were basically right.
We're basically right.
But Overlord, I'm like, I got nothing. I got fucking shit.
Again, all that I have is that they said it sends stuff back in time. So I'm assuming some weird shit's gonna pop out in World War II, and then the characters just have to deal with that, which could be probably will be pretty awesome. But I want to see, like, who's directing that, and, like, when in the year it's gonna come out. We'll try to do a reaction for that one too. We still might do a discussion on this once we've watched it maybe a few more times.
Yeah, Leandra, I think that the Earth disappearing bit should have been a bit longer in the movie, and they should have dealt with it a bit more. Yeah, because, like, I like the existential dread of I don't know where I am in the universe.
We could be in the Gamma Quadrant, like like the Star Trek Voyager thing of it's gonna take us 70 years to get home. Whereas in this movie, it was kind of like, check the cameras, and I do love the scene with the cameras going around. Yeah. But I feel like maybe if you'd had 20 more minutes, maybe 20 more minutes in the station where they're dealing with the Earth being gone, because we get that one really good scene with the captain. If we had 20 more minutes there, 10 more minutes with the husband, and show some parasites running around, maybe the girl, like, has a bite or something. And
then more of the ending where she comes home, it's a different reality.
Yeah.
Just a bit more. And I get that, like, it's hard to I know. I get it. Films are expensive.
Yeah, I let me say it this way: if it was a choice between not having this movie, or having the movie without what I would want in it, I would rather have the movie. Honestly,
yeah. Like,
it was just it was a good ride,
and because it's Netflix and it's the studio, they could just release, like, a 45-minute sequel.
Well, I think,
like, they don't give a fuck.
I think that maybe after Overlord, I think they're gonna evaluate. Because this movie they didn't do it for, but I think they're going to evaluate the Cloverfield brand in terms of theatrically released stuff. And like it or not, there is this battle between streamable services and theatrical release stuff. Yeah. So for me, I would say, like, Overlord might be the test where they're like, hey, it's going to have the Cloverfield name, but it'll be this type of movie, so we'll see if we can bring people in and know what the hell's going on. But if they don't get enough bang for their buck, because I know 10 Cloverfield Lane did well. But again, a lot of people went to see it because they thought it would be more connected to the first movie. So I hope this one's probably going to be a test, but I honestly follow Black Mirror. Do, like, a Netflix Cloverfield series where every episode is just a different thing, and they can do one episode that's a found footage that's in Cloverfield 1 that's following Michelle from Cloverfield 10 Cloverfield Lane. I
think the worst part about this movie is that Bradley Cooper didn't show back up from 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Bradley Cooper.
If you didn't know that, Bradley Cooper was in 10 Cloverfield Lane for, like, 10 seconds as the voice on the phone.
Yeah, he was the abusive boyfriend or whatever. Well, we don't know he's abusive. We just know that she was running from him. I think that's the ambiguity of that. But excited for the Red Sparrow movie. Is that the one with Jennifer Lawrence? Because she had that really scene where she had the swimsuit on. That was good. But anyway,
I didn't see that trailer.
Yeah, kind of. I saw it. Anyway, so I think that's about it. I don't think there's anything else to talk about really until we want to do a more in-depth review where we go through the movie.
See, now that Jennifer Lawrence is dating Darren Aronofsky, she thinks she's, like, fucking, like... she thinks she's all, like, artistic and shit. It's kind of interesting.
Leandro says, Netflix is a good thing, but I think this movie, the Cloverfield fan base, lose people. lose some people from the fan base, you mean?
Yeah.
But I think Overlord will be the last test if this... Yeah, I honestly think that this was them kind of going, hey, we're going to try this, and then Overlord is them going to try it. I don't imagine Overlord will be on Netflix. I think Overlord's going to be a theatrical release film, and they're going to say, okay, we'll see if this has any life left in it as a theatrical film.
I'll be there day one.
I'll be there day one.
And they'll be here day one.
You don't know that.
Okay.
Anyway,
thanks for
watching. Now, I think Monkey.
That's the worst way to end.
I think Monkey Man and Leandro are the only one here left. So I just want to say, oh,
thank you. It was lit.
It was lit. Yeah.
So was that space station.
That's a bad joke.
Thank you.
I'd give an arm and a leg to see the next Cloverfield movie now. You know what I'm saying? Because he lost his arm in it. Anyway, I guess we have. I like how, as I was saying, the 2 people left. Type 2 came in. Type 2, if you want to.
He cucked you.
Yeah, he did. Type 2, go back and rewatch this if you want. Watch our other videos.
Thanks everybody so much for watching this.
Yeah,
I love you all.
Thank you guys for showing up.
you have a good night.
You have a good night.
You enjoy Argentina.
Yeah.
I'll try to enjoy America, though it's falling apart.
No, we don't have the oil crisis yet.
That's true.
Well, I mean,
thank God we don't have kaiju. I mean, we could have kaiju. That would suck.
Cool. Type 2, you're awesome. All right, guys. See you later. Thanks for joining us.
Monkey Man, I'll see you at work. Exposed.